Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. As we all know, Paris Saint-Germain won the recent UEFA Champions League, and in today's video, I wanted to compare the Paris Saint-Germain Champions League winning side to the previous best and most relevant teams to compare to. So, here are the teams that we will be comparing Paris Saint-Germain's Champions League winning team to. 2023-2024 Real Madrid, most recent one. City 22-23. Bayern Munich 19-20, Liverpool 18-19, Real Madrid 16-17, FC Barcelona 14-15, and Barcelona 11-12, because I've always said Paris Saint-Germain under Luis Enrique is the modern version of the 2011-2012 Pep Barca winning Champions League. For the people that forgot it, here's the Paris Saint-Germain winning Champions League side. Donnarumma in goal, Marquinhos, Pacho, Nuno Mendes, Achraf Hakimi, Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembélé, and Khvicha Kvaratskhelia up in the attack. Let's see the first team that we're going to compare this to. 23-24 Real Madrid. Here we have the team in front of us. Courtois, Nacho Fernandes, Rudiger, Ferland Mendy, Carvajal, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Kroos, Rodrigo, Bellingham, and Vinicius Jr. Where do we start here? The goalkeeping position, Courtois or Gianluigi Donnarumma. Courtois obviously playing on very weak cards. He was injured for the Leipzig tie, for the Bayern tie, and for the City tie. Lunin played instead. So the goalkeeper obviously has to be Gianluigi Donnarumma. For the right back spot, Carvajal, I think he finished 5th, 6th, or in the Ballon d'Or or something. Had a really great campaign both with the Real Madrid team and with Spain in the Euros. But I do believe Achraf Hakimi takes the right back spot. The season that Achraf Hakimi had this season is one of the best, like a top 3 Champions League right back season. Scored in the quarterfinal, semi-final, and in the Champions League final. And overall is a better player than Carvajal. Achraf Hakimi takes the right back position. Moving on to the 2 centre-back spot, we have Rudiger and Nacho Fernandes. And I think this is a really simple one. Pacho has to be there, best centre-back in the UEFA Champions League last season. And alongside him, I will take Antonio Rudiger from the Real Madrid Champions League winning squad. When it comes to the left-back position, Ferland Mendy, I thought he was really underrated in that Champions League campaign. Bellingham, Vinicius, Kroos, Carvajal, other players got a lot of hype and prop for the UEFA Champions League campaign. Not as much Mendy, but once again, Nuno Mendes calmly, easily takes that left-back position. Moving into the midfield 3, Federico Valverde, Tchouaméni, Toni Kroos. Who are we going to pick? This is an interesting one. Kroos, Tchouaméni, Valverde. I think it gotta be Vitinha, João Neves, and Toni Kroos. Toni Kroos, I think he was unplayable for Real Madrid in this Champions League winning campaign. And next to him has to be Vitinha and João Neves. Valverde deserves an interesting shout, always an important player for Real Madrid. But João Neves and Vitinha gotta be there, alongside Toni Kroos in the midfield. Moving up until the attack, we have Rodrigo, Jude Bellingham, and Vinicius Jr. And we will make this as simple as possible. Ousmane Dembélé, Vinicius Jr., and Desiree Doué. I think both Khvicha Kvaratskhelia and Desiree Doué go ahead of Bellingham, but I'm going to pick Desiree Doué. I think Bellingham, he was good for Madrid in the Champions League group stage, but if you watched any of Madrid's knockouts games, you'd have understood or not understood why Bellingham got so much hype that year. But the attack, Vinicius Jr., Ousmane Dembélé, and Desiree Doué. And that finishes off Paris Saint-Germain winner this year compared to the last winner at Real Madrid. Let's move on to the next XI, which is the City treble winning team. We have a treble versus a treble, Pep Guardiola versus Luis Enrique. Ederson in goal, Ruben Diaz, John Stones, so obviously tucks in with Rodri in that double pivot, Ake, Rodri, Akanji, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, Erling Braut Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, and Grealish. Let's do this. Ederson or Donnarumma? Donnarumma. I mean, the campaign that Donnarumma has, one of the best Champions League goalkeeping campaigns I've seen. So Donnarumma takes the goalkeeping position. Moving on to the fullback position, we'll just make it very simple. Achraf Hakimi and Nuno Mendes take the 2 fullback spot. We got to be serious and respect the sport right here. Ruben Diaz or John Stones. I'm going to pick John Stones and Pacho. I think Stones was better than Diaz in that Champions League run. Yes, he was playing more in the double pivot, more as a midfielder. But I would still pick Stones. I think he was more impactful for City and a better player. And alongside him, obviously, William Pacho. Moving on to the 3-man midfield, Rodri, Ilkay Gundogan, and Kevin De Bruyne. Very tough midfield here. Very tough midfield here. I rate our midfield extremely highly. Whew. I guess Rodri, De Bruyne, and Vitinha. I guess that's going to be my midfield three. Very strong midfield here from Manchester City. And Rodri and De Bruyne alongside Vitinha in the midfield. And lastly but not least, up in the attack, Grealish, Haaland, and Bernardo Silva. I'm going to pick Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembele, and Erling Braut Haaland. But Bernardo Silva, I think he deserves a huge shout. He was incredible for City, especially in the big moments where they needed him versus Madrid, versus Bayern. This is a tough one because Bernardo that season, such an underrated campaign. I don't even think he finished like high in a Ballon d'Or thingy. Poof. I'm going to still pick Desiree Doué ahead of Bernardo Silva, but that's a really tight one. And that finishes off for Paris Saint-Germain versus City 22-23. Moving on, Barcelona 2014-2015. Luis Enrique, treble winning squad. This is going to be tough. Ter Stegen in goal before he became Ter Laden. Dani Alves, Piqué, Mascherano, Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, Iniesta, Rakitic, Lionel Messi, Suarez, and Neymar Jr. Strongly off in the back line, Ter Stegen or Donnarumma. Has to be Gianluigi Donnarumma. Dani Alves, Hakimi. I'm going to pick Hakimi. I think Dani Alves, career-wise, overall, and this wasn't even Dani Alves' peak, which we will see later on in this video, but I will pick the Ashraf Hakimi season over that Dani Alves 100%. Left back spot, Jordi Alba, top player, but once again, I just rate Nuno Mendes way too highly. What he can do with the ball, off the ball, offensively, defensively, the impact of Nuno Mendes, how he can pocket players. I don't think Jordi Alba could pocket players, and I don't even think offensively he was as versatile as Nuno Mendes in goal scoring, playmaking, and everything. Nuno Mendes takes the full back spot, and now we already have three Paris Saint-Germain players, Piqué or Mascherano against Pacho and Marquinhos. This is a really tough one, but I'll pick Pacho and Piqué as the two centre-backs, in my opinion. Moving on to the three-man midfield, Busquets, Iniesta, Rakitic. Obviously, Xavi wasn't as much of a starter this season due to his age. Honestly, I think Vitinha and Iniesta are my first names. And then it's a tough battle between Rakitic and João Neves. That's how great João Neves was this season. João Neves or Rakitic, that's a really tough one. You know what? I'm going to pick João Neves. I think João Neves was better, more impactful, did more for Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League winning campaign. And moving on to the front three, Lionel Andres, Messi, Luis Suarez, and Neymar Jr. It's simple. Messi keeps his spot, Neymar keeps his spot, and Ousmane Dembele takes the striker position. And that finishes off for the treble-winning squads of Luis Enrique combined 11s. Moving on to the next 11 is 1920 FC Bayern München, also a treble-winning team under Hansi Flick, who obviously beat Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final. Manuel Neuer in goal, Boateng, David Alaba, Davies, Kimmich, Thiago Goretzka, Müller, Coman, Leva, Gnabry. Serious team right here in front of us. And for the first time, Donnarumma got to sit out. Manuel Neuer takes the goalkeeping position. For the right back spot, it has to be Ashraf Hakimi, even though Kimmich was insane that year. Davies was also insane. But we got Nuno Mendes' best season, Davies' best season. Nuno Mendes takes the left back position. Moving on to the two centre-back spots, I think it will be David Alaba and William Pacho for the two centre-back positions. Moving on to the three-man midfield. All right, I think it's going to be simple. Thiago Alcantara, Vitinha, and Thomas Müller. Thomas Müller was just... That season under Hansi Flick, I remember Thomas Müller. He was absolutely insane. And that completes the midfield three. Moving on to the front three. Serge Gnabry, Robert Lewandowski, and Kingsley Coman. Lewandowski has to be there, obviously. Should have won a Ballon d'Or that year. Ousmane Dembele, next to him, obviously. And now we have a little bit of a tough one between Desiree Doué and Serge Gnabry. Once again, I'm going to give it to Desiree Doué. Shout out to Serge Gnabry. A lot of tough ones here. Moving on, we have the 18-19 Liverpool team. Won the Champions League under Klopp. Alisson or Donnarumma. Once again, I'm going to go with Donnarumma. I still think Donnarumma's Champions League campaign just last season. Nice Champions League this, Champions League that. What he did in the knockout stages in the biggest game, that penalty shootout versus Liverpool at Anfield, was humongous. So yeah, the only one I can put ahead of Donnarumma is Neuer at the moment. Donnarumma takes the goalkeeping position. Trent Alexander-Arnold or Ashraf Hakimi. That was probably Trent's best season. Still gonna go with Ashraf Hakimi. For the left back position, I'm gonna pick Nuno Mendes. Two centre backs, Van Dijk and Pacho. It's becoming easier and simpler. And the midfield three, we finally have a full Paris Saint-Germain midfield. Vitinha, João Neves, and Fabian Ruiz ahead of Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and Henderson. Moving on to the front three, Mohamed Salah, Firmino, and Sadio Mane. It just has to be Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, and Ousmane Dembele up top. And that finishes off the Liverpool 11. We're going off quick here, getting easier and simpler to build these combined 11s. And now we have this insane team, 16-17 Real Madrid. Let's see how many PSG players we can get in here. Keylor Navas or Gianluigi Donnarumma. Gotta be Gianluigi Donnarumma taking the goalkeeping position. For the right back position, Carvajal or Ashraf Hakimi. Ashraf Hakimi. And now we come to Nuno Mendes' toughest opponent, Marcelo, 16-17. You know what? Nuno Mendes, still 23, will have better seasons. I think he will retire as a better player than Marcelo, but he will also probably have better seasons, even though he was absolutely insane this season. So I'm going to keep Marcelo there just so he gets happy. So Marcelo takes the left back position. For the two centre back spot, he has to be Sergio Ramos and William Pacho. And now we come to the toughest position, the midfield three. Because even Casemiro was absolutely insane that season. But I'm going to pick Vitinha, Toni Kroos, and Luka Modric for the midfield three. Moving up to the attack, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and Isco. Isco obviously played as a 10 that season for Real Madrid. I think I will have to take Isco ahead of the Ziri duo, keeping obviously Cristiano Ronaldo and putting Ousmane Dembele instead of Karim Benzema. And that finishes out for the 16-17 Madrid team. And we have one more team left. The team that, in my opinion, Luis Enrique took the most inspiration off to build the current Paris Saint-Germain 11. The 2011-2012 treble? No, not a treble. Only a double. Barca team under Pep Guardiola. Some say the greatest team of all time. Let's do this comparison. Victor Valdez or Donnarumma. Gotta be Gianluigi Donnarumma for the goalkeeping positions. Dani Alves or Ashraf Hakimi. I said this before. Now I will pick Dani Alves. I think, at least in our time, Dani Alves, at least that season, maybe 1-2 seasons before as well, is the only one I can put ahead of Ashraf Hakimi. Yes, there is Philipp Lahm, but I don't know. I just rate Hakimi that highly. But Dani Alves takes the right back position. Abidal or Nuno Mendes. Shout out to Abidal, but Nuno Mendes takes the left back position. Moving on to the two centre back spot. Mascherano and Piqué. Once again, gotta go for the one I used before. Piqué and Pacho for the two centre back positions. Sergio Busquets, Xavi Hernandez, and Andres Iniesta for the three-man midfield spots. Gotta go with Xavi, Iniesta, and Vitinha for the Sergio Busquets spot. And up for the attack, Pedro, Messi, Villa. We keep it Villa, we keep it Messi, and we're adding Ousmane Dembele. And that finishes off for all the combined 11s of Paris Saint-Germain's Champions League winning team versus the best, most relevant, funniest to compare and build a combined 11 against. Hopefully guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below, what did you guys disagree with and what did you guys agree with. That's been it from boy PSGINT. Hopefully guys have enjoyed this video, and as usual, allez Paris.